QPR, QPR, Six Park Rangers are on the up and up. QPR, QPR, now we're heading for European Cup.
Hello and welcome to Open All Ours, the QPR podcast. I'm David Fraser. We are recording on a Wednesday this week for reasons beyond our control, or whatever it is that people say. But nevertheless, we're delighted to be here, and I have three other QPR fans with me. Two of them are QPR podcast regulars. One is BT Sports' very own Chris Charles.
Hello.
And another one is Funky Flowers' very own Paul Finney.
Hey.
Paul, you're looking very sharp tonight. I know you're denying this, but I am certain that you have had a professional haircut from a professional barber who has actually done and trimmed your beard in a way that's left it very precise and shaven and clean-shaven. Correct?
No, it'd be a complete waste.
What's happened to you? You're a metrosexual.
Soften. No, because with a face like this, let's be fair, whatever you do, you're still going to look like a twat. So I would not pay money.
There it is, Apple. There it is, iTunes, the first obscenity of the podcast. Please ignore. Carry on.
Sorry, George.
I didn't say that, did I? I was just thinking it. No, I haven't. I would never have any. My hair costs about £6 to cut, and there's not much of it anyway, so yeah.
And we also have third time,
I think.
Third time, Raoul Desai, QPR fan, and yes, not a founder of the podcast, but a very welcome semi-regular.
He can't say what his day job is. I know what it is, but he can't say what it is.
It's something to do with something that Paul doesn't like, isn't it? Yes.
Kind of.
You work for another florist. Let's leave it at
Yes,
that.
he does.
Oh, okay.
We're going to have a florist off.
Okay, so
That's not even a
we
word, is it?
have right. Let me do a couple of bits and pieces first. Thank you for the beers to Richard Hennessy, who has bought the beers tonight. Raoul has also bought the beers, so we are beered and
I've even got
cidered
cider.
out. But thank you very much for your support, Richard.
Top man, Richard.
I've met Richard. He's a lovely fella.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
He's
we
already retired, and he's not that much older than Paul, so I'm very jealous.
Remind me which one of you two's older? Chris.
Oh yeah.
Absolute lie.
Although he doesn't look it. To be fair, you look the oldest.
It's not true. It's not true. Let's carry on. Also, don't high five. That's pathetic.
You guys are now the oldest after that. That was so lame.
Who high fives? That was very lame, wasn't it?
guys just
You
got 10
like
years
tried
older.
to carry off a we're young, you look much older, and then you high fived. You undermined it all.
Yeah,
or something.
when you can say it, you can insult us. Carry on, people are waiting for the.
Yeah,
start
me and
the-
Follow
Fraser
us.
are doing the Harry Kane Dele Alli handshake. We're young.
Exactly.
What was that
Harry-
about? I've seen
Yeah.
that. That's seriously bad. Isn't
Who's Harry Kane and who's Dele Alli?
I think I look a little bit more Dele Alli.
I know I look a little bit. I'll take Harry Kane.
I
I'll
bet
take
you would.
Harry Kane. Anyway,
Harry Kane, really? Him?
may as well just say what we've said for
Sorry.
the last 260 or 70 odd podcasts, which is you can follow us on Twitter at QPR Pod, have a look at us on Facebook, and also go to our website where you can listen to all old episodes. Go to qprpod.co.uk. I will probably say this at the end as well, but the tickets for our live podcast are now on sale. We do a live event once a year at the end of the season. This year it's on Tuesday, May the 9th. It's going to be at the Good Ship in Kilburn. And we already have one confirmed guest, which is Mark Bircham, assistant manager / QPR. Sorry, is he assistant manager or deputy manager? You know what I mean. And QPR legend who will be there. Other names to be announced. It will be a very, very fun evening. Go onto our website, qprpod.co.uk, buy a ticket and join us. Right.
I like the live podcast because insults and cider are free.
Yes. It's fun. It's fun, isn't it?
It is,
good.
yeah.
It's good
yeah.
to meet other people who think I'm a complete idiot in the flesh.
No shortage of them. Okay.
I think we might upset him. That was
No.
That was you
Just
that-
do your high five again so we know that you're both 50 or nearly 50. Just do it again. It sounded like this,
definitely-
everyone.
He's
Okay.
He's upset. Eh?
Right. Which 1-0 defeat would you like to talk about first?
You might as well start at the beginning.
Really? Okay, Derby. Go. Disappointment.
Bad day at the office. Not overly concerned by it. I mean, it was a very poor display. I don't think we were in it from minute one, really. And whatever we were doing, it just didn't work. Luke Freeman, who's sort of been our saviour for the last half a dozen games, went missing. Happens, I guess. I did think the reaction to it was, a lot of people have been saying, praising Holloway and saying we've done well, but a lot of people came out of the woodwork saying, what's he doing? And having a real rant about it. I didn't think it really merited that. I think I guess it's a bit different if you're 2 points off the drop and that happens and put in what looked like a completely dispirited display, but I'm not overly concerned.
No, but it's so tricky because we're in this circle that we win a few games, we're going to win the league next season, and then we're going to go back in the Premier League and give it a great go, and Rangers are back, and we're rebuilding, and we're doing everything right. Fernandes is great. Lee Hughes is great. The world is a wonderful, shiny place in W12. We lose a few, everyone out. That's it. We're going backwards again. It's going to be as bad as having Sammy Kojo up front. We're awful. This is it. Out. New manager, please. And I don't know if that's modern football, but I don't really understand it because he's clearly experimenting. He does change the lineup a lot.
And we won 5-1 the previous game. I mean, I know it was against a sort of school reserve team, more or less, but we still won.
Still have to beat what's in front
exactly.
The
and we
school
still
reserve
won.
team that we lost to a few months ago.
Well, that's a different matter. But we just come off a 5-1 defeat, and then the world caving in after a 1-0 loss is all a bit ridiculous, isn't it?
But that's football.
Yeah, I agree. It is a bit. I am curious why we are chopping and changing the lineup so much. I'm curious if it's just preseason, but I'm not sure if it's the fact that we just have so many players and so many midfielders, and he just wants to give everyone a chance. But it's hard. You see when Washington has a few good games, and then he comes out, and then Smith has a few games, and he comes out. I'm not really sure what the thought process is. Is he just trying to experiment? Is he just trying to keep everyone happy? Because you look at someone like Goss, he hasn't gotten too many chances to play. Did he play yesterday because they just want to give him a chance and keep him happy, or is he managing the squad? What's the purpose behind all these changes?
I think, in my own personal mind, which is a scary place to be at the best of times, I think that you need to keep the strikers together, keep building up a relationship, to keep going. It's fair enough to change around a wee bit of the defence, a wee bit of the midfield, but certainly keep Smith and Washington together because they look like they could be a really good partnership. And the more games we win, the more goals we score, the more season tickets we sell, the happier everyone is. And then you can still experiment. You can bring Still on for the last 15, 20 minutes like he has been doing, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the moment, it is starting. I mean, he's putting this player in here, he's putting that player there. It's different formations. It's all very well and good, but we're not going to get relegated, and we're not going to win the league.
But I think that's exactly why he's doing it, isn't it? He's doing it because nothing's now going to happen, so he's experimenting.
Yeah, but we have had a few bad months on the Hasselbank where we were in danger of throwing ourselves off South Africa Road. And it would be great to end the season with a real, because we were finding real momentum, and Washington was flying. That goal he scored for Northern Ireland and stuff, he came back for the nice little big flying, and looking at the player we thought we signed for the price tag that we signed him for. And I guess as a footballer, you never want to sit on the bench, regardless of reasons. And
but
Smith
that applies to Silla, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I'd rather have Washington in the side than Silla, especially based after last night's performance.
But is there the problem we don't know is whether any players are carrying knocks or are a bit jaded or whatever reason. I sort of quite miss Prav's updates. Remember Prav?
God, that was
physio?
a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, they don't do that anymore.
No, I know.
He works the British Lions now.
But at least you knew exactly where everyone was, how far they were away, if they picked up a knock in training, so we'll stick them on the bench or whatever. I mean, I
can tell you Ravel Morrison's not fit. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
I could tell you that.
I mean, I'd be surprised. I mean, he wasn't even on the bench against Villa.
Do you think he'd be kept on?
Yes.
Okay.
Because Holloway, when you say kept on, you mean the loan renewed, because he's still got 2 years at Lazio, don't forget. I think they'll try and make an effort to bring him back, because Holloway is one of these managers, a bit like Allardyce, maybe a bit like a Ferguson, a bit like a Redknapp, in that he's convinced he's the one that can change him.
Leon Dion.
Isn't he? He has to have a lost cause that he's chasing after, that he's putting all his effort into, and that's very admirable, and that's one of the qualities that makes him a great manager. But I think you get the feeling that the one he's got in his sights that he wants to repair. Whether he'll be successful or not is Morrison.
But I mean, I know he hadn't played for a long time, and talking months and months. But surely it doesn't take you that long to get fit, does it? To get match fit. Nobody knows.
That's a shrug of the
Prav?
shoulders.
Well, I think it's also the formation too, because they play 3-5-2 or 3-4-3. So you have 2 strikers, 5 in the back, and then you have 2 central midfielder / tennis players. So in that position, we have Freeman, Luongo, we have Goss, we have Cousins coming back, we have Manning. So now you add Morrison to the mix. You have 6 players who are basically competing for 2 spots.
Yeah.
And Luongo and Freeman definitely deserve to keep playing every week. Manning has been a damn good player. And then you still have Cousins. So I think we may just have a surplusage in that position.
And I don't think it's just a fitness thing with Morrison, is it? I think there's been long-standing, long-reported problems with his attitude. And I haven't heard that he's had a bad attitude since he's come to QPR. But it's going to, with a player like that, it's going to be a whole long management process.
I often wonder, was it when we signed him and made him stand in the rain when they took all their photographs? I've never seen someone so unhappy at joining a football club in my entire life. Did you remember that when we signed him? He was getting drenched. I think that was
raining.
Yeah, but you can take photographs inside as well. Like, you don't have to do it in the pitch like with this bucket and down cats and dogs, like the poor buggers sitting there going, I've just come
why
back from
can't
the
they
league.
think of a better photograph than holding the shirt or holding the scarf? Football has evolved, not the game of football, but the kind of marketing, branding surrounding it. They've come up with so many amazing innovations and ideas, but nobody has come up with a new idea for a player signing.
I have, just now.
Go on.
Grabbing David Speedy by the neck.
For
No, you
our
said it was
younger
speaking.
listeners,
Yeah.
But no one's come up, like, everybody just does that, hold a scarf, hold a shirt. Come up with something better.
What would you prefer, like pair of underwear things? Or
But
something?
talking of the lineup,
Yes.
I've done a little. And apologies if one or two of these. I mean, I've gone through it a couple of times. It may be wrong, but lineups are starters from the last 5 games: Smithies, Freeman, and Hall 5, Ananua 5. Sorry, Furlong, Silla, Luongo, Bidwell 4, Smith, Yenny, Pav 3, Washington, Manning, Lynch, Perch 2, Goss, Mackie, Petrasso 1. Actually, Petrasso was the bench, so discount that one. But yeah, that's the.
Well, he played. He came on.
Just call out the ones who've started every game.
Started
Oh,
every
started,
game.
sorry.
Smithies,
Should listen.
Freeman, Hall, Anua.
Well, I think you've got there, the ones that he feels are nailed on.
Yeah.
don't you?
And then
no major surprises there.
And then Furlong, Silla, Luongo, Bidwell with 4. Luongo, the one he missed because he's come back from Australia. So you'd think that, well, Luongo Freeman clearly is the preferred pairing, which I wouldn't disagree with.
Yeah, I just think it's funny because we've had this all kind of reminds me of this very wealthy couple that I knew in New York who were both divorced many times, and then they ended up marrying each other and having all of this furniture from their different marriages and bringing them all together in one room. Anyway, this all ties back to football.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this because I'm wondering you're doing a finny here, and I'm wondering where we're going with it. Let's keep with it, folks.
If you look at our squad, it's like multiple relationships or marriages, and we just have these players from one manager, and we have Coyote from Hasselbank, and we have Henry from God knows when, and we have all these players, and it's just such a big squad and so many midfielders. And
Did they stay together?
Yeah, I want to know that. I know what you're saying. You're saying it's like a kind of straight
we've just brought so many. We have so many different regimes, and we've had 4 different regimes in 3 or 4 years. And I think we just need to maybe think about which players we're going to offload next year. And
tell us about the couple.
Yeah.
Did they make it?
they made it.
And
good.
I wonder.
Good, isn't that nice? Well, that
But
bodes
they
well
have a lot
for
of
us.
discreet furniture.
Do you reckon the other managers are arguing about who they want to have custody of, because they don't seem to be able to settle a hell of a lot of them? So probably due to
can have custody of Carl Henry.
Carl Henry, he must still be on the naughty step. He's been on there quite a while.
Indeed.
But the thing is, I don't think it's all negative. I think I think we can next season, and I think be realistic to hope for promotion. It's just there's some cynical people who are saying, is it Holloway's way of saying, by the way, if you take out Washington, Smith, Luongo, whatever, this is what I'm left with. So we need to invest more in more Championship players. Well, there's 2 ways to look at that as well. So. I'm surprised Doherty hasn't had a go. I'm quite disappointed at that, because I actually quite like him, and I think he does deserve a run.
Let's talk about players and positions after the interview. We're speaking to Kevin Gallen in a minute, friend of the podcast. Quickly before that, we haven't talked specifically about Villa last night. Rahul, you watched the entire 90 minutes today on QPR Player, which is quite a confession. That's quite
you really?
something to say out loud.
I did.
Wow.
To tell us what you thought.
Yeah, the match it's a lot less exciting to watch when you already know what the outcome is, and I was fast forwarding through all the throw-ins, but it was it was the first half was relatively a flat performance, and no one really stood out too much. I think Freeman was pretty good and Luongo looked good, but just seemed to be a little flat again. And then in the second half they were a lot better, but didn't really have that final quality in the final third. In particular, I think Furlong, although he's definitely improving, playing well, and Bidwell, they weren't providing great service into the box. Silla in the first half was basically feeding off scraps, and it just seemed to be once we got into that final third, there wasn't that cutting edge. But in the second half, we were putting a lot of pressure on Villa, but there weren't ultimately too many great chances.
I think to be fair, you forget how much money they've spent on their side as well, Villa, and they've got young.
13 million,
15, I think. Yeah.
I mean, they got that kid from Brentford. They spent a fortune on him as well. So
Logan,
and they've got. And I'm sure there's a guy playing for Villa who's a QPR fan as well. Anyway, so there's all that going on, and I love their fans' sense of humour. They make me laugh. You know, they take the piss out of their away support, which is roughly I made it about 600-700 there last night. But I was at the front and I can't see at the backs and blind, so I'm just guessing there. And they're like, shout support, and you're thinking that doesn't work when you got a half-empty ground and a whole stand empty at the top, like lads. And also, it's like they're all getting very banterish. I hate that word, but anyway, you know that. And then Rangers started saying, "We'll play you again."
You can use it. The metrosexual you are with your hipster haircut and beard trim, you can start saying banter now. Go ahead.
Hello, I was abusing one of the Villa bloke with the big beard.
No, really?
Yeah, I was chanting Shoreditch reject, but it didn't catch on. But I thought it was really funny, but nobody else did, and I looked really stupid. But yeah, and also when we pointed out we'll play them again next season, their attitude changed a little bit, because I don't really like Villa. I think they're a club that have always had ideas above their station, if you ask me. All right, they've won a European Cup, but anyone can do that.
Yeah, but we beat them 2-1 to finish top team in London, so...
Yeah. And Trevor Francis scored one of the best ever hat-tricks I've ever seen.
Perfect hat-trick.
Yeah, the perfect track. Yes. But it's interesting how times change, because they're singing a lot more about Birmingham. They never used to sing about Birmingham, but last night they were singing a hell of a lot about Birmingham. So it just shows.
Isn't it annoying that Birmingham will just squeak through getting relegated? Rowett got them just too many points, didn't he?
Forest we might send Forest down again, though.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
But it's a shame. If Rowett, they'd only sacked Rowett 2 games before, they would be heading for that trapdoor now. They've got too many.
Here's a thing top of your head, David, because you're a bit of a stato. In your previous life you're probably a train spotter. But hey, if you're listening, you're a train spotter. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, train spotters all welcome here.
How many managers started the season in the Championship will finish the season?
24 clubs. Do you know the answer to this?
Not a clue.
Oh, right, okay.
But I'm just throwing it out there, because do you think they sack too easily?
I tell you what we'll do in the magic time where we say, "Here's Kevin Gallen," and then we turn off and we phone him and then we edit it together. We'll have a look, and we'll come back with what we think the answer is after this interview with Kevin Gallen.
All right, on the phone now we have QPR legend, friend of the podcast, and a man that loves to buy everyone a pint of Wetherspoons, Mr. Kevin Gallen. Good evening, Kevin.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Kev.
How's life?
How are you?
We're okay. We haven't seen you for a while. We're missing you.
Good.
Well,
yeah, I will be back on soon. Sorry I couldn't make it tonight, but something's happened.
What, Chelsea, Man City?
I'm disappointed, but I'll be there soon.
Good man. You're not in the pub, are you?
Not yet, but I'm on my way.
Yeah, see? Right, good man.
I'm only joking. I'm at home, putting the kids to bed.
Just like everyone normal. Now listen, how have you viewed the season so far?
The season has been, okay. okay. Well, compared to like the hype that was predicted before the season, then it's been poor. But I didn't believe the hype. I think it was the right decision to change the manager. And I think after January, the transfer window, we've done really good business. And if we hadn't done that business, we could have been in big trouble going down.
Oof. So you think if we hadn't sacked Hasselbank, we would have been relegated without a question?
Well, yeah, that could have been a possibility. But it depends on what would have happened in the transfer window in January. I think we've had a decent transfer window, and I think getting rid of players and then getting other players in has been a major factor on our upturn. And the wins in March has pretty much kept us up.
Kev, we're currently 16th in the league. It's 6 places, above the bottom three. Is that higher, lower, or par for how you view this QPR squad?
Well, I think I've watched quite a lot of games with QPR this year, and there's been a lot of games where we've lost and where we could have got a draw, and there's games where we've won where we could have been a draw and could have lost. I think there's still a lot of big work to be done, and the big work to be done is getting players out of the club. To be honest, that's what I think. There's a squad of 30, 32 at the club, and there needs to be at least 10 to go, so we can progress.
Hi Kev, it's Chris. How you doing, mate?
Hi, how are you?
All right, mate. Yeah. When you say get rid, Corker, you'd imagine probably is going to be one of the ones to go, and Cole Henry definitely. Anyone else that springs to mind?
Well, there's Corker. There's Jet's not playing. He's back at the club. He's got another year. You've got the Polish lad, centre midfield. He's out on loan, but he's coming back in the summer. To be honest, I can't pronounce his name. There's a lot of players that need to be go. That's just one of. There's like three of them. I spoke to someone the other day watching the Derby game, and I thought we were a bit lightweight in midfield. Mm-hmm. And they said to me, "Well, our holding midfield players are Henry and is it Barashik?
Yeah.
And they're not even there. They're like your sort of like your holding players, and they're not even near the squad or going to be in the squad. So I think there's going to still be a big change around at QPR, and I think the biggest thing for Ian Holloway is more to get the players out that he doesn't want than getting the players in that he wants. Yeah,
I was going to say, because we don't want a massive clear out again, like 10 out and then another 10 in, because I think the last few games, we've had a couple of blips. Against Villa, I think we were a bit unlucky not to get a point, but against Derby, okay, that was poor, we've written that off. But and as well against Derby, Luongo wasn't playing in that game, and he's been pretty good in midfield with Freeman for us recently. So, how many do you think we need to get in? You say a holding midfielder. Do we need another striker? That's your speciality.
Well, yeah, I do. But it's coming to my head. El Kiate, Gladwin needs to really move on to progress his career. These players need to go to free up wages for players to come in. Obviously, it's a never. You can't just keep buying players and building up your squad and having players that are not going to be playing, and that causes disruption. I've been there, I've seen it. Disruption in the squad. You get a group of players, like 10 players not playing, and it can spread, and it's a disharmony. You need a squad of 20 to 24 players who are sort of in and around it and got a chance of playing. Do we need another striker? Yeah, I think we do. Silla, who I like, but I like him more from the bench. when he starts, he's not as effective. Matt Smith is a presence. He's good in the air, but the only problem when Matt Smith plays is every time we get the ball, we seem to go long to him, and then we don't sort of have any build-up play from the midfield. Connor Washington, at the moment, he's done well in the last couple of months, but he still needs to prove himself. So I think we need another striker. Strikers can usually get you out of this league and make you progress. So, but hey, everyone's looking after strikers. It's a tough world out there. It's not easy.
Hey, Kev, it's Rahul here. Just a quick question on that point. We've seen dramatic changes in the lineup, even after pretty good results at Rotherham. We made 4 or 5 changes against Villa. We made a few changes and changed the formation. Why do you think Holloway is changing everything up so much? Is he just trying to keep players happy, or is he trying to see what he has for next year? Why do you think we're switching everything up so frequently?
Yeah, I've noticed that, and then I'm not. If you're a player and you think you're in the starting 11 and you do well, I think you want to stay in the team and you want to play every week, and that means Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. So I think the manager obviously is experimenting. Well, I hope so, because keep changing your team every game, I don't think it's the right thing. All the best teams usually play the same team, so it'd be interesting if you get a settled team. I can understand the 1 or 2 changes, but changing all the time, I'm not a big fan of.
Kev, I know we're not mathematically safe, but I think nobody thinks seriously that we're going to get dragged into it. And so my question is, have you been in this situation before where there's a fair few games left, not very much to play for, and how does that play out in the dressing room and in players' minds? And is that a difficult situation for the players in the squad to be in, and have you experienced that?
Yeah, it's a bit strange, because when you're you're not going down, you're not getting promoted, and there's not really much on it, then you sort of need an inner drive and a personal motivation to perform at your highest level. But I can see where it's a difficult one. I went to a game last night, Reading v Blackburn. Reading need to win to get in the playoffs or to try to go to promotion, and Blackburn need to try and stay up. And there's a little bit on the game, and it's quite enjoyable. When you sort of got a mid-table rubber, it's difficult to get motivated for. But that's where it comes within, and I'm sure the manager will be looking at it and say, "Hold on, I'm looking at him to step up to the plate and claim a place for next season, or as in someone where I can rely on him. He gives 100% at all times."
But is there a truth to the saying, on the beach, got their flip-flops on, that sort of thing?
Well, there's some players are like that, no doubt about it, and there's some players that isn't. To categorise the whole team like that, that's not true. But there is the odd element of players who will be thinking like that. There's no doubt about it.
Now, Kev, what club are you currently doing a bit of work for?
Well, I work at Brighton at the moment.
Who we happen to be playing on Friday. So my follow-up question to that is, how can we beat them on Friday?
Well, we'll have to be at our best, because they're a very solid unit, 4-4-2. Everyone knows what they're doing. All got good attitudes. Chris Hughton has done a great job there. He's drilled them in to work hard, 100% every time. They've got a good striker who can score goals, Glenn Murray. They've got another striker, Tamer Hemed, that scored last night. They had Sam Baldock. They've just got Knockaard's been an outstanding player for them. So, when everyone says you can't play 4-4-2 in this league, or you can't play 4-4-2 in the Premier League, they've made it happen. If you've got the right players and if you've got the right attitude, it can happen. It'll be tough. We need to defend strongly, maybe ride our luck, but Yeah, QPR can beat anyone on Loftus Road, especially on an evening match. I've been there enough. I've played there enough. It can happen at any occasion.
Well, just a thought, Kevin, for Friday, for preparation for the game. Is there any chance you could poison their first team?
No.
Take him to.
I really have nothing. Hey,
I know a great kebab shop in Barnet.
yeah, I know.
And what's your thoughts on bringing Ian Holloway back as a man, and what's your best Ian Holloway story, just to round up the interview?
Well, do you know what? Ian Holloway has done a great job since he's come back, because I know he started off really poorly for him, but he's done really good work in the transfer window, and I think he's bringing back Gary Penrice as his scout. And I speak to Gary Penrice because I see him on the scouting circuit every now and again. And what he's told me is all about attitude. You sign players on attitude. And you know what? I actually said to him, Gary, you're right. Because you can have all the ability in the world, but if you ain't got the right attitude to blend in with the other players and work hard, then you've got no chance. And that's why, unfortunately for Ravel Morrison, it hasn't worked out for him again at QPR. Stories about Ian Holloway, I don't think I can tell them because he's an under 18 audience.
only if you believe David Fraser. But carry on.
Yeah.
There must be a clean something that he's done. This your favourite Holloway moment, for instance. All right, we'll change it then to your favourite Holloway. When did you actually think this man is
I know,
mad?
I've got loads of Ian Holloway moments. I remember I probably said it before, but there was one time Ian Holloway, I think Kenny Jackett was taking training, and we were out there on the pitch. Ollie was the manager at the time, and we was all sort of just minding business, getting on with training. Ollie came out with a ghetto blaster, put it on the middle of the pitch, blared it out, started dancing, started singing, and basically said, "You miserable
Yeah,
People.
expletive deleted.
See you next Tuesdays. See you next Tuesdays. Start smiling. It's not the end of the world." Started dancing in front of us. We had a bit of a poor result, so we all started laughing. It was great crack. The usual. There's loads. I've got too many, but that's the one that comes to mind.
When there's he had obviously a very public splat with Henry. Sorry, spat. We're called Henry.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that no one's ever going to win an argument with Ian Holloway, because I get the feeling he's probably always right.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
What do you want me to... Is there a question then?
No. It's just.
Have you ever won an argument with Ian Holloway?
Have I?
Yeah.
I did actually. No, that reminds me. So I was at Plymouth. Oh, you'll like this. This is a good one. So we're at Plymouth. We're playing a team. So he puts the team up. Yeah. And we're in a hotel. He puts the team up, and I'm on the bench. So I'm like, okay, I was a bit disappointed. So we're getting on the coach, and as we're getting on the coach, he stops all of us, and he says to us, "Did you see what happened on the team sheet?" And we went, "What?" He says, I missed something out. And I went, "Ollie, yeah, I weren't fucking playing." And he was absolutely gutted. He went, "No, I didn't put the captain on."
Oh.
Ooh. Did you play the next game?
I don't think he hadn't spoke to me since.
Oh, bloody hell.
I'm joking.
But is he the motivator who will get Rangers back to where everyone wants to be? And should obviously the club will stick with him because we have to, because we've had too many changes. And is he just what we need? Do you think him and Birch together?
Oh no. I'm a great believer in what happens in the transfer market, and if you get the right players in. Ollie's a great motivator. He'll organise the team, but if we don't get the right players in, we won't do anything. I have always been very vocal on this. on Twitter that we haven't signed the right players, the decent players over the last 3 or 4 years. If he can get the signings right, and I hope Gary Penrice comes in and gets the signing right. If you get the signings right and get the players out that you don't need, then we've got a chance.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Well, Kev, thank you so much. By the way, you know the way everyone that comes on the podcast I thank? And I tell them what a credit to QPR they have been in their career and everything else. Have you listened to the podcast to hear this? Of course you have.
Every week, every day.
Kevin, you
That's a lie.
You came into QPR as a kid. You've been a coach. You've been a player. Thank you so much for everything you've done for Simple Minds and Jim Kerr.
No problem.
Seriously, no,
Thank you.
you are a QPR legend, pal, and thanks for all you've done for Rangers. And hopefully we'll see you on the podcast pretty soon.
I'll be at the live show, aren't I?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm the guest,
You were supposed
Yes.
to.
I'm the guest appearance.
You were supposed to.
You promised me a guest appearance.
You were supposed to. Yeah. The thing is, you're supposed to be a surprise guest. You might have just ruined that.
Yeah.
Thinking you said I was support actor, but
I said no such thing. You were the main attraction, of
like-
course.
Kev, we are very, very much
I'm
looking
like
forward to seeing
I'm
you.
like I'm like therapy to you too.
Did you ever watch Steptoe, son?
Kev, we are looking forward to seeing you at the live pod, 9th of May. Thank you very much for coming on tonight. Look forward to seeing you.
I'm washing my hair that night, lads. I'm washing my hair.
So am I.
Cheers, Kev.
Cheers.
See you, mate.
Cheers,
Take
mate.
care.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Enjoy the game.
Bye.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay. Right. So, in the magic time where we connected the call and all the rest of it, we actually did count up the championship teams.
Am
who
I going to
have-
look really stupid
Who
here?
have changed manager, or as far as we can think, who have changed manager this season. What was your prediction, Paul? You thought it was the majority.
I would say at least more than the
The majority.
But I know now that I'm probably wrong.
Well, we counted Derby, Norwich, Villa, Cardiff, Wolves, QPR, Birmingham, Notts Forest, Blackburn, Wigan, Rotherham, which is 11. So not far off halfway, but not quite the
There's an
majority.
interesting thing in that, if you don't mind picking up on that, if I may say something, and I'm going to try and pretend I'm intelligent and we're actually pundits rather than just fans who drink too much. This trick of keeping a job in the Championship, it would seem, is being the top six.
Yes, because all the teams at the top
Yeah.
have kept their manager.
But weren't Birmingham in the top six?
They
when
were, which is
when
why
they
it was
lost
total madness.
And Derby last year.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
are. What else do we need to? We are, because of one more question, Finney. We've wildly run
Hang
out
on
of
a
time.
second. That's
What?
a bit harsh. You spent
What?
the first bit trying to make out I've been the bloody Shoreditch or something. So let's not be having that, sunshine.
Chris, you have 3 pages of
Oh, no,
notes,
that- most
which
of
is
that is-
amazing dedication after 6 years to have 3 pages of notes.
No,
I have a half a page
Most
of
of that
scrawl.
is taken up with which players have played.
Oh, right, okay.
41, so yeah.
Your
And also
final-
it's in big type so I can read it.
What's your before we move on to the R's end?
Yeah.
Give me one thing off your list that you think is
One
worthy
thing
of discussion.
off my list. Okay. Well, one thing I did write on my list, which I forgot to
Yeah.
ask Kevin Gallen, was I was quite dissatisfied with the more recent version, which is actually probably 10 years, of the Magic Hat song, where it goes at the end. It goes. Oh, hang on. Sorry, I'll have to look at my notes for that one.
Okay,
Sorry.
let me talk about Player of the Year dinner then.
Yeah, get
Is
rid of
back. Well, we can't. So we're not getting rid of that. We keep going. Right, Player of the Year dinner is returning.
He's sulking now.
I
It's
know.
not only me that sulks, and it's actually Chris.
You're making it worse, Chris. It's fine.
You'll have
It's,
to put up
it's
and do it-
fine.
You'll have to do without though, which is put up next and apologise.
Player of the Year dinner is returning. The club have announced. Happy
Excellent.
about that?
I've only ever actually been to one, which was.
Did you win?
No, I might have won absolute prat of the year, but
Right.
not, or anything like that. I only win things that no one really wants. I've won a Per Howard Jones ticket once, and a book of BBC London, which was about something stupid. Anyway, but yes,
Give me your votes for. We'll go around the table for Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year.
It's quite simple. Manning, Young Player of the Year. Although Furlong's pushing him in a wee bit at the moment, and Player of the Season is Smithies for me.
Raoul?
Yeah, I think Smithies is probably the obvious choice, but I'll give an honorable mention to Grant Hall because he really has taken on various roles and been pretty steady the entire season. And Young Player of the Year, I'll give it to Manning. I think he probably deserves it.
I think it's a lock for those two. I also vote them. Chris, Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year.
But yeah, what you all said.
What we all said.
Yeah.
Okay, you're still licking your wounds over the aborted Kevin Gallen Magic Hat
So
song.
what's your beef with the Magic Hat song?
I can't remember because I can't find it. I can't see
It's
it.
fine. It happens in old age.
Yeah.
So are they singing? Are we singing about somebody else? Or are they singing? Have they had a new
You're talking
band?
about a reappropriation of that song.
I just can't see it. I can't,
Anyway,
For anyone who can't see what Chris is doing, this is midget. You should.
this is the man who said that I looked older than him. That was earlier in the podcast
really
talking about being
rattled by that.
and he can't read his own note. Right, R's End. Anything we haven't talked about, should talk about regarding Queen's Park Rangers Football Club. Paul, you look poised to say something.
Not really. No, I was going to say I'll go last,
Well, don't go first.
but I don't want to.
Come on.
No. You just can't boss people around this podcast and think you run it, you know. You gotta... Rahul, go on.
I don't want to go first. You go first.
So you go first.
This is bad radio or whatever, or audio or whatever we call it.
Mine's a wee bit serious, so I'd rather do mine last, actually, if that's okay with the rest of you guys.
Okay, I did actually have Player of the Year dinner as my R's End, but I stepped in at a pivotal moment, brought it up, so I've actually already done mine. Chris.
You can do two. I do.
No, I don't have anything else to say. Chris, no, you can pass.
Really?
Raoul, would you like an R's End?
Yeah, I'll take the R's End. I think at this point, I think what Gallen said was pretty accurate. We need to start thinking about what the squad is going to actually be for next year and start shaving off players and getting rid of guys, selling them, sending them off on loans. But we do need to change the squad a little bit and hopefully just scale back because chemistry, I think the chemistry in the squad is definitely very good and it seems like everyone is getting along. But the longer you have guys just sitting on the bench, there will start to be a rot. And as Leicester showed, chemistry is a very fleeting thing. And I think that we need to get guys out so that people can be happy and get sufficient playing time.
Tell me about the chemistry between your couple in New York. No, don't. No, don't.
Well remembered. Well
What are
played.
you talking about them? What are they called? No one's going to know who they are. Come on, just out of
Eileen
interest.
and Lou,
Eileen and Lou. And they'd been married how many times before?
quite a few times.
This is a beautiful love story. But they found each other.
Yeah.
How old?
Probably 50.
Wow. And they've been married several times, several broken marriages between them. But despite their furniture, they found happiness.
Is this like Open All Hours meets the Golden Girls or something?
It's a great story. Right.
It is a great story. I mean, well done. And I wish... Who are they again?
Eileen and Lou.
Eileen and Lou.
Eileen
All
and
the
Lou
best.
from New York.
Sounds like actors from the old TV series
Yeah.
Taxi.
Paul. Oh, Chris
I
is back
found
now. Chris has found it. Chris, your R's End, please.
Oh,
Anyone
lost it
still
again.
listening? Think
Let me look through your notes.
Hang on.
Let me look through
The
them.
size 48 font is just not big
Okay.
enough.
Paul,
Oh,
talk
here
to
it is.
us.
I've got it.
Go on.
I have got it. No, all it was, this is going to sound really rubbish now.
it's going to be some
Yeah.
shit.
But in the old days, you just went, it was Kevin Gallen's Magic, you go for the first one, then it was a little oh, and then everyone knew to come straight back into the next one. But now when you do the oh, it's so long that no one knows where to come back in again. That was it, really.
Were you pissed at this point?
Yeah, I think I must have been.
I'm do you know what? It's like, you know
That's
what
the sound of your notes.
Yeah.
you know when I build up to a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I wasn't going to build up, I was going to mention it to Kevin.
Do you know
And
what?
David
Can
called me
I,
on
I'll,
the
get, can, I'll just sort of, because I know everyone's desperate for a Kevin Gallen Magic Hat story. I taught my kids it, but at the end, it ends because their children plays all through the night, scores all through the night.
Yeah.
It's not
I
that
used to
interesting.
sing it to my daughter as a lullaby, full version.
Did you? No, mine is scores all through the night.
The worst thing I ever did. This is true, by the way. I'm not making this up. I used to teach Lily when she's seen a Chelsea shirt to shout scum at people just on TV. You know what I mean? It's like they're on TV. It's like scum, you know, like that sort of thing. Go to the Asda in Watford. Bloke's about 6'7", built like a brick shit house basically. And Lily, as bold as brass, points out from the trolley. You know where you put your kids and then we things in the trolley, the legs stick out. Just points out and she goes, scum! Like that there. And I was like, I'm going to die. And I didn't die, but it was quite funny. But I'm thinking by your face, you probably had to be
No,
there.
I'm thinking I've met your daughter and she's a remarkably well-adjusted young lady.
Oh, aye.
Which, you know, given the genes is some achievement on behalf of your wife.
It's really annoying for my daughter because she's doing really well at school and I was expelled. So whatever I say, she's already beaten me. Anyway, right,
Paul,
my
please.
hour's end is
Please.
2 quick things. Firstly, a serious one. To Miles and Mel Huckeridge, going for a really hard time. I'm really sorry, lads. You've had a really horrible year, and my thoughts are with you. And yeah, good lads, good friends, and I'm really sorry for what's happened to you. Right. The other thing I was going to mention is Arsenal.
Yeah?
Right. I live in North London. Right. And I had an Arsenal fan. I don't know if this has happened to you. I had an Arsenal fan in the Wetherspoons because that's all I can afford these days because I don't get paid for the podcast. Just saying, for listeners. And he was trying to convince me that I'm desperately jealous and I have got trophy envy of an Arsenal football club and I secretly want to be an Arsenal fan, but I'm too stubborn to admit it. And if I could swap, I would swap. No, that's a bit weird, isn't it? You know,
I didn't realize you got a trophy for finishing in 4th place.
yeah, but it's not even that. There's 2 guys, and this is what it's
for the
going to
FA
end
Cup,
with.
though.
He said all this in the pub, which is fine. On the train down here tonight, because they're playing, and from Barnet, there was about 6 or 7 Arsenal fans. Sorry about this, Harry, by the way.
Harry's an Arsenal fan.
Yep.
Carry on.
They're desperate to lose to West Ham tonight, so they can start the Wenger out chants. They're just like, as soon as Andy Carroll scores, we start the chant. We get everyone going. They're desperate to lose. How friggin' mental is that? They have become the Man United of the South.
They've become Spurs fans. That's what they've become.
I don't know. Do you know what? You can stick your friggin' Premiership up your arse sometimes in modern football. Give me the loft, under the lights, like on Friday, with the place rocking any day of the week, and I'm jealous of no one.
We also won the Dry World Trophy, so don't forget that one.
Yeah.
Didn't they go bankrupt?
Yeah, we did.
So no one can ever win it.
Yeah, it is
Do
weird.
we get to keep it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's weird because we record this almost in the shadow of the Emirates, and they are at home to West Ham, about half a mile away as we speak, and it's very strange being surrounded by Arsenal fans as we walk in. If you want to see a great video, there's an ESPN video. I think they distributed it that Leyton Orient fans did. So Leyton Orient, have you seen it? Leyton Orient fans are going through a pretty tough time, and they basically ripped it out of Arsenal fans for complaining about being a very, very successful club and how terrible it would be if they actually finished 6th this year in comparison to their problems.
Do you reckon our live podcast could go as badly wrong as Arsenal TV the other day, by the way, because that was hilarious. I don't advocate violence of any sort. It's all morally wrong, but I was on the floor laughing.
It could go as badly wrong as this podcast, though.
Oh no, this is unforgivable. This is the worst podcast
If this
ever.
is the first time you've listened to this podcast,
Please come back.
It isn't always like this. Sometimes we finish on time, we talk coherently, everything, all
And
that.
David Fraser does actually look younger than Harry, who is the youngest person in the room.
Predictions for Friday night at home to Brighton.
That you're the youngest person in the ground looking. Carry on, Chris. I think we're sacked.
What do you think? What do you think the score will
I
be?
think we'll get mullered, but I'm hoping for 1-0 cheeky win.
Chris,
1-1.
I have this odd Paul Finney-like feeling that we're going to win 1-0.
Oh my God, you compared yourself to me. That's awkward for you.
I have an odd feeling we'll draw 2-2.
Thank you.
I tell you what, we are at home. We're a completely different football club at home, and we might just have it in us to spring that surprise. So I'm going to stick a cheeky 5 on Rangers at 1-0.
Thank you very much for listening. This has been Open All Ours, QPR Podcast. We'll be back next Monday.
QPR, QPR, 3 Park Rangers are on the up and